Welcome XRP Collective. It is Sunday at approximately 1:30 Pacific Standard Time. XRP Lion here, coming to you from my secret place with the Lord, where I spend all my time when I'm not doing anything else. I'm here hanging out with the Lord. We have a lot to be thankful for today. Oh, wow. I've been posting. It's been a busy 24 hours, we'll put it that way. And I took some notes here on some stuff that I posted. It'll be in the video. I'll make sure the graphics are in there so you can see them again. We are there, everyone. We are there. Today's the day. The Lord said today is the day. Everything is lined up. Everything is prepared. Everything is ready for what man needs to do in relationship to what God has already done. And we are ready to move forward, which means make sure you have everything in order. We could be talking later tonight, the 24th, through next Saturday. But think about this. Sorry about that. My mouth is really dry. Oh, I've been doing a lot of talking. Excuse me. If we go back to the first date that the Lord had me begin posting on April 4th of 2021 to today, 7/24/22, that's 476 days. If you sum up the 4 plus the 7 plus the 6, it's 17. And as you all know, everyone knows that isn't a number that has significant meaning for XRP. It's in its DNA, 17. And 17 means other things too. If we go back to the beginning, right? Lord said, go back to the beginning. And we've come to understand that is the day after the lawsuit was filed. The day after the contract with the devil ended, 7,885 years. The Mayans kept the calendar. The Lord hid his calendar of 7,777 years in there and added 108 years, which is exactly how long the Federal Reserve existed, to the day. Isn't that amazing? It was already prescribed. It was written in stone. And the Maya made sure that nobody lost track of the calendar. Now, I will tell you this. After we get through all of this, I've been putting something together. Not for now. But it's everything that I found that he led me to and showed me about the Mayan calendar that they've used to deceive everybody. They changed dates. They didn't include days. So they played with it, going way, 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 way back. They knew 12/21/12 was when all of the planetary planets would line up and they could create fear and panic. I mean, I can't on both of my hands count the number of books that pastors wrote about the end times. This is it. Jesus is coming back. It's all over. Get your affairs in order. And then what happens? We go to the 22nd, the 23rd, and we just keep going. But see, what people didn't understand was that there was 8 years that he hid in the calendar because Enoch didn't name some days. So 2,912 days, which is exactly 8 years, didn't get calculated in the equation. So God made sure that it was there so I could find it. And I'm going to put together a book about that. Because everything is tying back to the calendar. Now, what I just read, something I saw in a video, it said S&P worst first half in 52 years. Well, did you know that 52 years is one cycle in the Mayan calendar? Where do you think they got that from? So it's really cool, and it's one of those things like, oh, I just want to do it so bad. And the Lord's like, no, that's for a later time, Dave. Let's just leave that there. And we'll come back to it and we'll pick it up. And I said, okay. But if we take that day of December 22nd, 2020 as our start date, as we saw on the price and timeline, and we take it to today, July 24th, 2022, it's exactly 579 days. Well, we're going into this lockdown period, this 10 days. So when we add 10 days on there, it's 589 days. Look at that. Isn't that cool? So we're getting to another use for the 589. And you'll recall that the Lord said it's multifaceted. It doesn't mean just one thing. So just when you think you figured out what 589 means, it's got a whole nother way of being used, which is cool. So I wanted to share that. One of the things that came out right after the price and timeline on February 14th, on Valentine's Day, I sent out some information that was calculated during that time, and it pointed back to July. And you'll recall that I said that there was a huge confluence of information coming to July. And it started on the 13th of July, and it ended on the 30th of July. And in talking with another associate, we both identified that right in the middle of that was today. And that was more than enough time to launch what's going on. And here we are. So July 13th to July 30th is 17 days. So there's our 17 again. So God uses these sacred numbers in the mathematics, in the gematria, as guideposts, as ways to proof back to what he makes known. And during this whole time, I've shared the fact that I don't come in with a preconceived notion for anything. I mean, there's no way man could have done this. There's no way I could have even begun to do this without his wisdom, his strength, and his understanding. Because it's his plan, it's not mine. He breaks it down when it needs to be revealed. And I can sit there and, kind of, like we all do, try to project it into the future and try to take a look at it and say, wow, where could this go? And I've learned that that's just a waste of time. It's pointless. Because just when I think I may have figured something out, here comes the curveball or the beanball to tell me, Dave, just relax. I told you to rest, just rest. You'll have it when I want everybody else to know it. And of course, there's a lot of stuff that we've already wrapped up that can't be revealed until he says so, and I honor that. But now he's saying, it's time, it's time, it's time. And he's been saying that for a while. And when he says it's time now, he means our time. Within the time we're in right now. Because we know what's coming. It's like when we were kids. And we all have this same shared example. And depending upon how old you are, you took your parents at their word. You didn't tell them what to do. You made suggestions of what you wanted for Christmas or a birthday. And if your dad was anything like my dad, he faked you out. He didn't show any inkling of you getting what you asked for. And if you did ask, it's like, why do you need that? You need clothes. You need shoes. You don't need that. But see, he did that to throw us off. Because he was a great dad. Do anything for us. And he did just that. And that's the way God is. He already knows what we need. He's already laid it up in heaven. It's already manifest in heaven. And he just waits to release the Holy Spirit for it to manifest on earth. So when I say we know what's coming. We know Nasara Jasara is coming. I've said before, I was told about it in 1992 in a private meeting with the former House Ways and Means Committee member. And the only thing they haven't talked about is Social Security and the Postal Service. You go, oh, Postal Service, Social Security. See, here's what they said in 92. They're going to privatize the Postal Service. FedEx flies all the U.S. postal mail anyway. They want to be at every door every day, which makes sense. And then with regards to Social Security, certain people at a certain age will be included. In the existing plan. And if you're under that age, you'll invest your own money into a government-sponsored program. Well, you can see that happening now with NESARA. You know, so they could do a 40-year cutoff. So if you're 40 years old on a particular day, you'll stay in the system, and if you're not, then you'll go into the other system. You'll forfeit everything that you've already paid in. But that's okay because you have your NESARA money. And if we're going to have the type of health and wellness that they talk about, probably don't even need it. I mean, I've had astigmatism all my life. I can't wait to have that fixed. I want to have 20/20 vision. It's like my left eye has to overcompensate from my right eye. Tried to wear contacts, couldn't do it. But even when I wore them, it's like, wow. My whole brain and body felt balanced because both eyes were seeing on their own. I'm ambidextrous. So I throw right, eat left and right, right-handed, bat left-handed. But what does that really matter? I mean, that's not a criteria for the environment that we're going to be moving into. Because where we're going into a consciousness of love. And that's the core. That's the foundation. Quantum resonance system. I mean, I know there are people out there right now that are going, oh my gosh, that's so cool. And there's other people going, you know, I'm going to have to kind of see how that works out because, you know, we don't ever talk about that kind of stuff. That's okay. It just means that we're going to come to understand more effective ways to communicate with each other, with the Lord. And evil has no place. No place. It's like now I know why for that 2-week period, maybe it's 3 weeks, maybe 4. We start out with the separating the chaff from the wheat. And the chaff has to be burned, has to go. And then we move right into the city of Jericho. So it's like everybody's had plenty of time. And you'll remember very well there were a number of posts where the Lord said they have to make a decision now, today. Now, did I like having to bring that message? No. But I was very encouraged by it. Because I know how great the people in this community are. I know how much you are filled with love and honor and respect. And it's just going to be more of that. And the enemy has used labor, taxes, and politics to keep us from having the freedom to make that our agenda, our purpose. And because of the taxes, we were forced to try to figure out how to make more money. And many times that was legal or illegal. And that's not the true nature of people. That's what I believe. But their environment is what causes them to do what they do. And all that's going to change. And because people don't have to earn a living anymore, God's given them the inheritance of 1,000 years. All there should be is love. There shouldn't become, and I'm speaking to myself at the same time. So understand that. This is as much for me coming from the Lord as it is for you and anybody else. There shouldn't be one foul word or desire in our flesh because this world it's over. The world as we have known it is dead. And that came out in that gematria, which just happened to be pointed towards Jimmy Valley. I saw that phrase pop up when I was doing one of the other gematria early this morning. It's like, what a great day to be a superhero. Well, we get to be that every single day. From the moment we get up, we get to go be a superhero. For all the people around us, past, present, and future. We get to love on people. That's our job. And when I say job, I don't mean just over broke. I mean, it's what we get to do with passion. And as that happens, as that unfolds, woo! I mean, we are all going to another level of existence. Excuse me for that. It's been busy today with the news that we're there. Batten down the hatches. Make those last minute runs to the store. Get her done. As Larry the Cable Guy would say. Never watched that show. I mean, I'm almost out of words. I almost don't know what to talk about. It's like, he's telling me right now, he says, just speak from your heart, Dave. Tell him what's on your heart. And that can be dangerous at times. And I don't mean in a bad way. I mean, it's emotional. You know, most people that you come in contact with regards to XRP, it's just like transactional. It's like, how do I get you to watch my video so I get a click, so I'm going to get a check? How do I get you to join my group so you'll pay me every month? That's over. There's no need to do that anymore. And I'm excited to watch the people that just get set free. I mean, there are some people out there with great information. And they do what they have to do. And I've had many discussions with the Lord about that. And he said they do what they do for themselves. But he said all that changes. And he said, so don't worry about Dave. Just love on him. So I drop them hints. I make posts in their YouTube. I drop breadcrumbs. And what a day it will be when they have their Saul to Paul moment, their man in the glory experience. I mean, if you haven't had a chance to read the story of Saul in the Bible, what a story. I mean, he was a Pharisee and a Sadducee. He was a Roman. So he was like a Harvard attorney. He knew the law. He knew everything. In fact, I mentioned that he was the one that came to judge Timothy and then had him stoned for what he did. And then in one instance, he was killing the Christians. And if you're familiar with what the Romans did, when they crucified somebody, they literally laid them down on sticks that were in the shape of an X, tied their hands and feet, and then stood it up and dropped it into holes. That was the cross. And they were just lining the road. They just starved to death or came to their end because of the conditions. Thousands and thousands of Christians were killed because of him. But in one moment, God had his moment with him. Jesus had his moment and converted him to take over the Christian position for the Christians. And they wanted to kill him. The Romans wanted to kill him. It was like he was a traitor. But because he was so well educated and he knew the law, he told them, you can't kill me. And they're like, oh, yes, we can. He's like, oh, no, you can't. I'm a Roman citizen. And they couldn't kill Roman citizens. So they locked him up. And that's how he had time to be with the Lord. So God had a big plan for him. And I bring it up because I know that God has a fantastic and wonderful plan for these other people. He has a fantastic plan for you and your neighbor and your family and your friends. And what God has you do is for you, not for them. And what God has them do is for them. So don't think that you have to be doing what they're doing or they have to do what you're doing. In the end, this is about releasing love on earth. Being love, being a blessing. And God is making sure that there's nothing to get in the way. Nothing. No financial issues. No work issues. no bosses that will hand you work to do right before you're getting ready to walk out the door and say, I need that by tomorrow. Because they could care less about you. I mean, I was in those situations. And it was like, how can you live with yourself doing this? And I was fortunate. I just went to the Lord and said, Lord, how did we get this done? 2 seconds, we had it done. And out the door I went. And the next morning they're like, Dave, why did you leave? And I said, well, I got done what you asked me to do. Oh, you did not? I said, did you check your desk? Check your inbox? No. I said, go check it. They storm off and they come back. You should have told me you got it done. I had other stuff for you to do. Well, you didn't tell me that. You gave me this task. And you didn't put a time limit on it, other than it needed to be to you by tomorrow. So I got it done. I used to blow their minds. I worked for United Rentals for a period of time when they were acquiring all their mom and pops all over the United States. And when it would come time at month end, we would get these reports with all of the activity. And it would take literally 7 days of 18-hour days to complete all the review and compilation to come up with the journal entries to post into the system. I said, there's got to be a better way. This is ridiculous. So I found somebody that wrote me a macro. I told him exactly what I needed it to do, because we got a disk for all the stores across the country. And then we had to peel out what was ours. And I was in charge of the whole Western division. California, Oregon, Washington, Idaho, Nevada. So I get the macro. And literally, within the press of a button and 3 seconds later, my 7-day task was done. And I even had him program my printouts with my journal entries, and then I would hand them to my associate to key in. And he's like, how did you do that? I said, I went to the Lord and asked for a better way. I said, but don't you tell anybody. I said, this is for us, not for anybody else. And eventually it ended up being picked up by the entire company. But the person that was in charge over me literally held me for ransom to get that disc. And then they got fired. It's like, why didn't you figure out how to do that? Why did it take somebody else? So God's always there when we need help, we get stumped, or we need an answer. So just press in. Press in. Go to Him with praise and thanksgiving. Make that the general rule for your day. When you're at that kind of moment, where there's nothing going on, just praise and thank Him for everything He's already done. Because what happens, that opens up that door for wisdom. So when you're in need, it's like you've already got permission to just walk right in. Send in your question, and you're at the front of the line because there's nobody there. I mean, it may sound like I'm joking, but there's nobody there. They're all standing in the other line where the door's closed, looking at their phones, waiting to be given direction. I go boldly before the Father. Well, he already knows what we're doing. So it just happens. And I learned and began to understand that after I read The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles. It helped frame my brain and my mind to realize that God is the infinite source of wisdom, of revelation, of everything. So why am I going to try to do it my way? And once you start to lean into that, what you need that he already knows you need, it just shows up. It's like when we got started on this project, and that Gann egg chart just showed up. I mean, literally, it just showed up on my computer. The moment I saw it, I knew what it was because I'd already seen it. And I knew it was the right one because Gann, that was his personal egg chart, and it moves a certain way. And he taught everybody else to do their charts in the opposite direction, clockwise, counterclockwise. And there's a way to number them in the chart. And I'd already been taught that in early 94 by my mentor. So it's like, wow, we're going back there. Okay. So it was really comfortable and natural to see it. And then he just explored with me what it meant and how to move forward to where we get to today. And we have come miles from where we started with the revelation, the gematria, the proofs. In the price for XRP, I mean, I can't tell you what that number is right now. I know what it is. But it is so, oh my gosh, it's like you almost have to pinch yourself, and you will do this. You will pinch yourself saying, is this even possible? And I'm here to tell you the answer is yes. Because God did all of this for you. For you. So get your head wrapped around that. Whatever's happened in your life up until this point was just to prepare you for everything after this moment. Period. Hard stop. God doesn't care how much you think you know. He doesn't care how many people like you. He doesn't care how big your house is. All he cares about is your love for him and others. That's it. He wants you to have the best, and he's not holding back anything now or ever. But see, now there's nobody to impress. Because we did those things in order to move up, to be chosen, to be picked. to be on that team versus that team. We showed up at 4 o'clock in the morning when everybody else showed up at 8 o'clock. We left at 9 o'clock when everybody left at 6 to prove ourselves. We don't have to do that anymore. God already knows. He chose us. He chose you. And now he's ready. He's ready to have fun. He's ready to play. He's ready for you to experience all the cool stuff. That love when it just it starts coming out of you like sweat. You change the atmosphere around you. I mean, I'm the one that is in the store and everybody comes to ask questions. I'm the one who parks the car at the end of the lot. And when I come out, there's 20 cars around my car. It doesn't mean I'm special. It just means that God's energy has a presence and people can feel it. And they're drawn to it. And that's you too. I mean, it's. I'm just so excited for each of you because you're gonna feel like your head just went pop. It's like the Grinch. Your heart is just gonna go whoa, and you're gonna run into that person who's had the worst day of their life for whatever reason, and it's going to be a look or a kind word that's going to take them out of that funk. I learned that from my dad. He would chat everybody up in town. He knew everybody. So every time we were out and we went anywhere, people would stop and say hi to him, and he'd introduce us kids, and he just enjoyed being around people. You know, he had to write tickets because that was his job. But generally, people on the PD, they liked him a lot. They liked being around him. And that's all of us. I mean, I said years ago, I was talking to somebody, probably drinking wine or something. And I said, could you imagine a world where everybody had everything that they wanted and needed? All they had to do was just go out and be a happy person, take care of people, lift them up, spread wisdom without asking for money. And it was like, wow. I really want that time to come. And now it's here. And it's here to stay. And part of what's going on right now with these exchanges, they're sifting out what's dark, what's ugly, what's evil. Because remember I said it's not going to be allowed to go into the new system? Well, think about it. How do you do that? Well, you have to restrict accounts. You have to make it so people can't move, in this case, their XRP out of Uphold to the ledger. Why? Because we need to make sure we know who they are. We need to make sure they're not the bad people. People trying to skate in. And I already told you what's going to happen with those people, the few that think they slipped through. Well, here one day, gone the next. God has already made sure that they won't prosper. He's already made sure we prosper. Everything that we put our hand to will prosper. It will multiply. Because it's grown with love. I mean, that's the water, that's the fertilizer, that's the soil. See, that's why we had to burn the fields in our heart, get our fields ready for this blessing. Because it can't go into bad soil. The word says so. You don't seed into rocky soil. It's not going to produce a return. And the return is the harvest. The return is the expansion of our consciousness to the point where we, like I said, we're thinking about the next task or the next benefit, and all of a sudden it's like it's there. The day's available. Everything just lines up, and you're like, whoa. It's like, yeah, whoa. Look what God does. Look what He already did. So it's like our steps are going to be like butter, easy. We won't have friction. If there's friction, then you're doing something wrong. You're going against the grain. Everything should just be easy. Easy, easy, easy. Easy peasy. I had a couple things that I've been trying to do, and I just went, why? Why am I trying to do that? Just put it down. Makes no sense. Well, just kind of nervous, Just fidgety, waiting for all this. Even though I know when it's coming, it's still like Christmas. No, I wasn't one of the ones that went and opened up all the presents to see what they were and rewrapped them like my brothers and sisters. And then wanted to tell me what I got for Christmas. No, do not tell me. Don't come in on Christmas morning and tell me what is under the tree. Even though you've been up for hours checking everything out. No, I want to be surprised. Don't tell me. And I do want to thank each and every one of you for honoring my request with regards to dates and things like that. I just put out what He tells me to put out. We know it's event driven. And there's so many things that are happening on these dates. And every single one of those things leads up to where we are today. It's like I had this thought. It's like, remember the picture of all the little white craft caught on the solar satellite? And it's going to sound wild, but, God allows me to go out to the end of the universe and come back. And I said, what if they were seeding the sun? For a CME? Because we need one. They've talked about it. And here it is. Bingo. A week later. It's on its way. And they're not reporting it. It's like, it's coming, but we don't want anybody to know. I found out that one of the guy whose voice you hear in what I posted, he's been doing it a long time, and he recognizes a lot of people in the industry, and he pointed out that one of the top people in the industry, observers, didn't even report it the other day. The two top people didn't even report it on their websites. And he's like, why would they not report this? So as he dug deeper, he found out that they work for the Department of Defense. It's kind of like they don't want anybody to know. And then it's lights out. The emergency broadcasting system goes off. But it's already begun, everybody. We're there. We're just walking it out. So just make sure you've done everything you need to do. Take your snapshots. Use your Faraday bags, or make your little Faraday cage, or your microwave is actually a Faraday cage. Just unplug it so you don't, inadvertently, put the popcorn in to pop the popcorn and you cook your phone at the same time, or your Ledger Nano. But just be praising and thanking the Lord for everything that He's already done. And, just get ready. Start visioneering. Start imagining with Him. Say, Father, I'm just so excited. Thank you, Father. Thank you for everything that you have already done and the future that you have prepared. Is there anything you want to share with me now that I can do? Start preparing myself for. If there is, you'll hear from Him. But for the most part, this is the time to rest and just get ready for the adventure of your life. And on that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I thank you. I love you. And we'll see where it goes from here. God bless.